explaining the deeply homophobic nature of the Abrahamic faiths, point by point, verse by verse. Note, this is an educational video. I do not intend to spread any amount of hate against Jews, Germans or Middle Eastern people by this. I just explain something and get into some other stuff as well. Using this video in any way, shape and form to spread hate against these groups of people is totally unacceptable. I grew up following only of the three shit faiths too. Let's start with the Old Testament, Tanakh Hebrew Bible. If a man lays, sleeps, with another man like with and women, he surely must be put to death, and a man must not wear the cloths of a woman, and a woman must not wear the cloths of a man, for this is an abomination unto the Lord. Next, Christianity. I will put it together then show verse from authoritative online websites, quoting literally from worldwide Bible pages that make the need to buy a Bible to be a Christian absolute. These pages will even show you the original connect in Greek or Hebrew. I will put it simple. One verse says that homosexuality is an unsure abomination. Yes, that is exactly what the Nazis thought about gay people, and thereby it is no surprise that Hitler said in Mein Kampf, Christianity is a great faith and the root of our morality. Whoever fights Christianity is thereby an evil person, as we do not have morals without it. The quote is not 100% accurate because it has been some time when I read the book Mein Kampf. By the way, in the book we also read about how much Hitler hated the Czech people coming to Austria. We also have a man that has homosexual intercourse will not enter into heaven, just like murders and thieves. We also have gay men are mentally depraved people that actively displease and ignore God, that have a mind devoid of God, and God left them with a mind that is similar to that of murders. Their spirit and mind is the most evil. There is no evil they are not willing to do, as their mind is totally depraved. Actually it ends the verse with, these men, gay men, know that they deserve to die. You cannot possibly say worse things about people. This in essence challenges all kinds of evil things humans have said historically about Jewish people. Actually, in the Nazi propaganda magazine, Der Stürmer, they literally quoted anti-Semitic verse from the New Testament about Jews. The Tsar leader in the Third Reich, Northern Stab Ernstrom, a known homosexual, was killed and replaced. Funnily enough, Adolf Hitler first defended him and said, leave him alone. His private life is his, and not your business. But then the night of the long knives came, and well, Christianity, Judaism and Islam are also Third Reich and Stat Nazi compliant religions. One thing though, no ethno-nationalism is not per definition homophobic. I am talking about the deeply Christian Nazi movement of the Stat from 1933 that had pagan elements in it but was dominated by in large amount by thought about Jesus. That is in fact that cannot be disputed, and no, I do not take the book Table Talks of Adolf Hitler restorative. Richard Carrier once that it is probably fake in some cases, unlike Mein Kampf. Modern National Socialist in some cases, however, are very anti-Curtistian and pro-pagan in some cases. Again, I am just referring to even Stat from 1933, not to modern white nationalist movements. In fact, it is a well-known fact that there are a lot of gay people in modern anti-migrant movement because they know about the Islamic hatred for gay people, so let's be fair but not stupid. Well, when it comes to social standards, but according to National Socialism they get one thing wrong. Well, Christianity and Islam, that is. Christianity and Islam, unlike Judaism, is not ethnocentric. In a sense, the ethnocentrism in biblical Judaism is the direct descendants of Israel are supposed to rule the world. Yet Abraham is also the father of nations more or less because it all descends from three at the beginning, so in a sense everyone is connected to Israel. However, Talmudic rabbinical Judaism totally busted us this concept, going as so far as calling non-Jews non-human animals essentially. But the way it is seen by Nazis is that Judaism is an ethnocentric religion, and surely it is a lot more ethnocentric than Christianity and Islam. Is an ethnocentric religion, and surely it is a lot more ethnocentric than Christianity and Islam. Next, Islam. Next, Islam. Before I start, yes, there were Islamic SS divisions that worked together with Unstap from 1933 to 1945. Now, in case anyone wants to believe in the book, Table Talks of Adolf Hitler, even thought Richard Carrier debunked it. Heinrich Himmler once said that the Germans walked rule the world with Islam instead of Christianity. There are even some word by Hitler about this, I believe. The book, Table Talks of Adolf Hitler, has also an insane amount of Slavic hate. So this is why modern National Socialists who want to appease and broad their audience usually do not believe in this book. Not openly, that is. Secretly you would hear negative sentiments about Slavs. Well, but that usually does not happen much anymore because they do hate the non-European migrants way more than Polish/Czech people who have so element of Germanic DNA in some cases. But the Azashvili would be more than happy to retake the borders from 1933, which would involve killing thousands of Polish soldiers if not way more in order to make Germany big again, and that does not in any way even put into perspective what would happen if they are to leave finalist the Greater Germany idea of Unstap, which was the first ideal out of Unstap 25-point program if I am correct. We basically are talking about Germany from 1300 to 1800, basically the Holy Roman Empire of German nations. This concept paired with ethnocentrism could produce easily 100,000 thousands of deaths, if not way more, especially if you were to account for non-white citizens that do not accept ethno-nationalism or continental placement ideas, Europe to Europeans, Africa to Africans, Asia to Sims. The idea of giving back America to the Native American is basically not realistic, because they are in absolute minority as the Americans. Have killed like 99% of them in the founding of America. The Australian Aborigines have also not the greatest chances of this. Just some food for thought. This is what Hitler meant with the Roman salute, because he wanted this Germany of the past. And yes, Stab thought that Rome could only be so big and strong because Germans ruled it with bastard German Italians as their emperors, which is very funny because that menaced the German Italian bastards. using Nazi speech here as they won't use it, basically killed and conquered Germans. Funnily enough, though, this theory creates the question as to why the Ottomans or Arabs could get such big caliphates. Well, the National Socialists believed that all cultures derived from the Aryans more or less, and that wherever they went they brought empires with them. Good luck, by the way, showing any on any actual pictures of blonde-haired, blue-eyes adult Turkic Mongolian depictions as their war generals. I could not find any, neither could I find this for Iranians, Persians or Assyrians, let alone Arabs, which is what the white identity British Israeli Christians claim. The thing is, if you ask them, it always revolves back to, oh, the news faked it. But if Western nations are the most powerful on earth together with Russia, Slavic, European and Asian, and China, then did that not also mean that they could hypothetically fake history in their favor? Guess what they did? Look up the fraudulent letter from Lentulus describing Jesus as blonde or red-haired men with blue eyes that was tall. In fact, most depictions of Catholics above the decibels of Jesus always make them look very European and not Arabic Semitic, let alone really Middle Eastern. Oh no, wait, I forgot. Supposedly the Ottomans took Slavic women to upgrade their DNA. Ultimately, though, Russia kicked German ass in World War II, and no amount of coping will make that go away. But they had more land, retort will not work because it was Hitler that first started in 1933 with his aggressive build-up of armaments. Even if Germans had as much land, this would not have been an automatic victory, because they, just like Russia, did not max out their military to the point that everything was filled up and down with military equipment. We would have needed over 1,000 years of populating these areas and creating war machinery in order to decide this conclusively. But truth be told, it was Hitler that was stupid enough to declare war against the Americans and not imprisoning the English when they defeated them all. Let's get real, he can't have just shot them. If Russians didn't standard and nothing more than stupider white people that effectively could get beaten by German brilliance, well, being a little bitch and not going full in wars loses you a fight too. So basically Germans lost the fight because they were too big of pussies to do what needed to be done and could just say, fuck Japan, we want to win this war, we do not care that America will toast Japan. Well, that's still a lose. And ultimately, if you are unable to load and handle an AK-47 round and rifle, then a submachine rifleman will kill you instead, like it or not. I guess their leadership should have been run by more ruthless mixed-race people who had the balls to do what needed to be done, lol. But they will never admit that this is what they are basically saying, ha ha ha. But going back to that, Islam does not dictate to have a specific type of woman as a bride. It is following way. And Muslim man has the right to marry a Christian woman, even a pagan one as well as Jews. But a Muslim woman does not have the right to marry and make children with a non-Muslim man. Actually, in Islamic cultures this goes as far as killing the woman that dared to offend this practice, which is similar to the Yazidi Kurds who kill even family members that date outside their faith. In Islam it is specifically allowed to have up to 4 wives and have sex with war concubines. Well, what place was the last place the Ottomans conquered? Yes, Slavic territory. No shit. They have a sex religion that allows their men to live like Charlie Sheen on steroids when it comes to sex, and surely enough they will have children. There even is an hadith about not putting out before coming with the load of semen in the vagina of a woman from Muhammad. If I am correct, kind like, who cares, just load her up with it. And since abortions in Islam are not necessarily compatible as Muslims see it as baby killing, and frankly, abortions as a viable option like today did not work the same as back then. Look up when they first made a condom. Like a modern one, took them long. In ancient Egypt they had a mixture of dung and other things for their first condom. So obviously they will produce whitish offspring. The Turks in Tartaria would meet Slavic women that sometimes marry them too, which Islam allows. By the way, the master race if anything in Islam were the Yemenite Semitic Arabs, if anything XD. Not blonde-haired, blue-eyed Germans lol, but hey, some fucking Nazi wrote about it, am I right? Well, there is also a lot of dumb shit that Talmudic rabbis wrote in the Talmud. So yeah. In fact, the rabbinical Jews are just like the Nazis in this. If an European has like an eighth Jewish down, then that is the reason the person is so successful, because Hashem blessed him, which is what the Old Testament say. Israelites will always be up, never down. Well, if an Russian Slavic had an eighth German blood, they would be like, no wonder he became eighth leader of Russia. It really is funny that in rabbinical Judaism a wise man is called Nasi. Actually, if you really want to have some fun, look up the ending of one of the Jewish ethnic groups. Let's say the last four letters of them. Yeah, kind of funny. Boo, for real, let's take a look at what stands in Islam, shall we? We'll put what the Quran say together like this. But before I do that, modern scholars in Islam basically think that the idea of stoning gay people does not necessarily be Quranic, because the story describes gay men wanting to rape the angels of Allah without consent. So that is not necessarily the exact same as two consenting gay men having sex. Actually, that's all you need to know, but let's get real. This is reason illegal to kill and prosecute gay people in some cases by Muslims. Now let's get to hadiths in Islam. Well, basically kill them if they are gay. Oh, I forgot to mention. God punished the gay men in the story of Lot in the Old Testament. Yes, the same story in the Quran. By letting fire rain down. This is what mid-age priests would deliver. Letting gay people be gay will create natural disasters by God as in punishment. In fact, the city of Sodom and Gomorrah got totally annihilated and destroyed. That is the literal reason why in the Middle Ages gay got killed, because of what's in the New and Old Testament. Actually, to some degree, oral sex was in some rare cases seen as something priests would put together with gay sex, as it is not reproductive.